You're listening to the Jaybird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and Fansided.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-hosts Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Why, hello, everybody, and welcome to another evening of Jaybird Watching. I am your host, Craig Borden. With me, as always, Liz McGuire, and soon to be eventually Jason Lyons. But Liz, first, how the hell are you doing?
Man, I'm good, bud. I don't know. I'm just kind of chilling out in the postseason. I'm trying to maintain whatever zen that I have, and ignoring everything. I'm ignoring everything. I'm with the belief that whatever's meant to be for us will be for us. Either way, I still hate our front office.
There is that whole wonderful tidbit. So episode 435 has Leslie Nope joining us to talk everything but hat. I mean, everything but including hats. Anyways. So anyways, Leslie, how the hell are you? First time, long time again.
I cannot exist if it's everything but hats, because that is a large part of my personality. If you excluded hats and if you excluded cats, I don't know what I'd do.
I like
There
that.
is. So nothing but hats. So let's talk about it. Leslie, you're the hat aristocrat, I think, in the group here as far as all these things go. I cannot go without wearing a hat, and I think it's just because I have a weird part and it never puts in the right side. I just have to wear a hat. It's just one of those baseball things I can't get rid of. But as far as these kind of things go, you're very immersed in this community. Give the Blue Jays fans and the fans of the show here just what's up.
I will say I shout out to my other two friends who collect hats, Jackie and Brian, as we have the burden of having really great hair and really great hats. And so when we're having like an exceptionally good hair day, it's like, oh, I got to cover this up with the hat. Like, oh, I look so good. And oh, no, well, I guess, got to wear the hat. Yep. But yes, I am, I've mentioned this when I was on your podcast a while back, but big hat collector. As you can see, this is my hat shelf here. I have about 55 to 60 fitted hats. And then I'd say I probably have another, I don't know, maybe 10 sort of giveaway snapback hats. Snapbacks don't quite fit my head really well, right? Like it just, they fall off really easily. They kind of like, they're literally not fitted, right? Like they're not fitted to my head. And no matter what, like the snap is either like too tight or too big. You're always like,
there's like a spot here. I'm wearing one right now. It's like there's a gap in the front. Yeah.
I think I suffer from PTSD from middle school and stuff where people would just walk up behind you and go snap and pull them all out. Maybe that's just a jackass American thing. I
don't know.
No,
I remember in middle school.
I'm like, nope, fitted hats only.
In Canada, there's something called a Smartie, which you don't have in the States. A Smartie is what we call a rocket, and a Smartie looks like a version of the M&M, and that's what we call these things on top. You'd call it a Smartie. I don't know the actual name, but in my
Squatchy.
Okay, there we go. In my school, you get Smartie when they just hit you on the top of your head whilst you wore a hat, and they'd say Smartie.
Yep, there you go. So enough childhood angst and problems aside. Leslie, you've been obviously a major collector, and you like this stuff, and you're very involved in the community to the fact that you actually have been styling some hats.
Yes. Yeah. So I hinted at this the last time I was with you on the podcast, and then I couldn't actually announce it because it wasn't ready yet. Most people know now that this is what got released. Left Field Lavender is the name of the hat that I influenced the style of. It's through still.ca is their website, STYYLL. It's a Scarborough slang. So they often end sentences like, oh, are we meeting up still? Or I guess we're meeting up still. So it's kind of like but still. It's not always asking like still, like the actual word, but they add it to the end. So this was a dream hat, right? Purple is my favorite color. And so I got to do a left field lavender cap, and then a visor. So like a little more eggplanty, or they called it varsity purple.
Trying to make it bigger.
Oh,
now this making it really bad. Everybody went away. How do I get people back? That's not working either. Thanks. There it goes. Sorry, I ruined it.
Okay. All good. And then if you look really closely, it's a silvery
Ooh, I love
thread
that.
here,
Yep,
right? And then a light blue hair, and then the matching purple for we call it the beard or the face.
Mhm.
And then the side patch has a complementary, so silver, pink, light blue, and the 93 because we released this in 2023, so it was the anniversary of the World Series. And then I had a pink UV.
Beauty.
And then a friend of mine who designs pins and clips, his theme is money. So he did a money clip that has a sparkly lavender paint on it. So some of the two types of, they call them, the concept is like jewelry, hat jewelry is either a pin. This glows in the dark, by the way.
Oh yeah, it does. That's amazing. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I won't turn off all the lights, but yeah, and then or a clip like this, or blip, we call them. A brim clip is a blip.
Whoa.
There you go.
Right? So this is the lingo, right? So we've got the logo, we've got the cap, we've got the squatchy or the button. Generally, the rule is the button is supposed to match the visor, though don't have to. But if you don't have the button match the visor, you call it a button violation.
Uh-oh.
I like this a lot.
That sounds like a flag on the play. That's time in the penalty box. Pick one.
Yeah. And then the under visor, we just say UV. Is the UV. And then this is called the sweatband. And then this black, these strips here, they're called the guts.
Okay.
There you go.
So that's a construction of the hat and the language that we use. And then you always have to have the New Era logo, of course.
Do you have a question? You can just say you don't know the answer. But when you do design through New Era, like you can't just make your own hats with that.
Right. So I don't design through New Era. So New Era has licensees, companies like Still and other ones. Lids is actually not owned by New Era. Lids is a distributor that sells a lot of New Era and other things like Mitch and Ness, 47, and sort of smaller brands as well. So a company like Still is mostly doing New Era hats because they have a relationship with them, and there's an ease to it.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say I'm from Buffalo. Thank you for supporting New Era.
Right? You have the flagship store. You have the flagship store.
Yep, it's an hour away from me in Rochester, but damn near close to it, and it's just nice to see. That was one of the things that got really out of hand for a little while in the hat universe, at least from what I saw. That was like, New Era hadn't become the big brand that they had become because of Major League Baseball. And there was just all these other companies that were trying to fight for that space. And the quality for the New Era hats, in my opinion, has been leaps and bounds above. There's a reason that, like yourself, I have just as many collected as I do. And they just pop. They're stiff. They're nice. They last.
They do. I will argue actually opposite. So since 2000, I think 11 or 9, they were made of wool. They're no longer made of wool anymore. And there's various differences in sizing based on where they're made. So if you have one from China or Bangladesh, they fit different. The crowns are different. I have New Eras.
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. I have New Eras that are the same size, fit vastly different. Like the crown is vastly different.
Crown is shaped different. Some are higher, some are more rounded, some are pointier, some are more cubic.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I've had to notice that. I've noticed that I've had on a few have to really arch right up at where the first part of the guts come down on your middle of your brim. So otherwise it just doesn't.
Question for you, Craig. What is your process for curving your brim? Because that is a whole other thing.
Yeah. So I'm the old school because I would just get issued a hat sitting on the bench because, I never in the starting 9, I was always this 10th guy. And I would just sit there and I would work constantly, just slowly, little bit, kind of moving around the whole brim the whole time. And then eventually I get something curved out like that,
Yeah.
And it was a slow process. I didn't have all these fancy toys I've been seeing all over the internet where I can literally press it to that shape.
Yeah. People love those.
Clearly, Leslie, you sound like you have the toys and you wanted to say something.
So I don't have a lot because the thing is I have a very square head and a very flat forehead. So I actually can't curve my brim or else it will pinch at my temple.
Yep.
Everyone will notice. Like all I do is I get a hat. It's like it is flat, and all I go is I go bleep, and then it's done.
So I do the same. Yeah, mine is like you put it on and it will curve. Like it should just curve kind of to my head. Again, this is a snapback, but I don't do a lot. But I do violate. I will sometimes do that. I will do that, which is never. People don't like that. I'm not. The thing is, like, I will like literally wear it, and it depends. But I rally cap my hats. I have hats that I wear. I've got the ones that are for show. I've got some nice ones, but I am in there punching my hat inside out, putting it on, and shouting at my baseball team. So I need my hats to work for me. I need to like, and I wear them. I wear them fishing. I wear them out. Mr. Lyons, what's up? But he's like, my hats, they've got a hat. In fact, I will say this: when I got it turned into a baseball card, the hat that I was wearing has a smash in it. It's indented. It's got like a lip on it, and there's an indent in the bottom. And somebody was like, you got to put that in a box. And I was like, I'm literally out fishing and wearing it right now. And then I got another message. Somebody wanted to buy it from me for $500. And I said, I literally need it. It's my hat. You cannot have my hat. And then somebody else was like, you should cut it up and like sell it. And I was like, guys, it's my hat. You can't have my hat. Like, no.
Yeah, it's like you wore that thing to battle. It's yours. Keep it.
No, it's just literally, it's just my hat. Like it's my hat. But yeah, Jason, how do you curve the brim on your fitteds?
I've gone a long time. Hi, everybody, by the way. I've gone a long time with flat brims. So I wasn't curving them at all. And it started to get to a point where, first of all, my ridiculous mane was part of, the influence of this. But I was starting to get a lot of pressure dead center in the middle with the flat brims. And I never loved the gap here. I always thought it looked a little odd. So you tend to just like, this is a pretty common bend for me. Yep. Just, where my thumbs are and then down like that. Like, I don't ever go too significant. I know some people go pretty, Craig, you've usually got a pretty good bow in the middle there, but
it's because I have an egg-shaped head. I'm like opposite hair.
Yeah, and I've got a flat face, like a manhole cover, so I got to make sure that that I accentuate it. I don't make myself look any worse than possible.
Yeah. So I have a few additional accessories that I want to talk about that I use for my hats. Because one of them.
Can I give us a shout out really quick before you dive into that, Leslie? One of our friends just wants to say hello. So
thanks, buddy.
And now you've got her ready to bling out her hat.
Yep.
I think we might have to help her. So we hope you're feeling better. Anyway, as you were, Leslie.
We were just talking about how there, due to, global manufacturing practices, there are inconsistencies to shapes and size of hats, depending on sources of location in the world, but also even within the same location, there's still different factories and still different things happening, right? So for me, a really key accessory here is the hat stretcher. Because I'll get a hat and it might just be too small. So what you do is, I got this one from Hat Club. They are relatively simple things. So you pop it in here and then you just crank it, right? And then it spreads out like this. Now, in order to get that as much of a crank as you can in a hat, like if it's tight, it's giving you a headache, right? Then you use a steamer.
Sweet.
There you go.
And this is just any steamer. Like this one, I think I wanted a Christmas white elephant thing. Like, you probably get it for like $10 at HomeSense or whatever. And so what you want to do is you want to steam the hat, and then you just sort of, especially if you want you really need to make the size bigger size, then you steam it and then you just let it sit overnight, and then you wear it for a bit. I find sometimes it'll shrink a bit, and then I'll wear it and then I'll steam it again. And then it will, after like the second or third day or try, will stick. So this is what I really value. One time there was a hat I bought and they actually screwed up, and they sold me, they didn't have my size after I paid for it, and I was not happy, and I don't with this company anymore. But I will show you the hat. None of you, very few figure this out. And so it's this hat, and I got it one size small, 7.5. So I got it what is it? Someone do the math for me. What's smaller than a half? 3.
A quarter.
A quarter.
No, 3/8. It's a 7.
Oh, yeah, 3/8. There we go.
Right. And so I had to do this like, I think 3 or 4 times until I could get it to fit without giving me a headache.
Yeah. Jason, look at that thing. That's right up there with that San Diego Padres City Connect jersey coloring that you love.
Yeah, it's funny, some of the things that I happened upon there's a guy on Marketplace that he must have some sort of a weird hat addiction. I mean, the dude he has and sells so many hats. And I've seen some really neat ones. I really like, there was a whole series that Lid did that was black and purple.
Yeah.
Logos were all purple, hats were black. It was pretty slick. I had no idea that what they did with the Rockies was. I mean, if you are black and purple, I don't know what they do with it. But I mean, I think, for me, there's a couple of I really like that one. I really like that San Diego one. But I think for me, there's a couple of the real traditional colors or traditional hat looks that will never go away. Like the Oakland A's for me is just a tried and true, like that green and yellow combo. It is
beautiful.
So slick. It's so sharp. As soon as you see it, you know exactly who it is. There's no, like I come from the land of the Vancouver Canucks where we change our jersey every 35 minutes to appease some sort of other weirdo thing we're trying to do, when we all know the best one is the black rink and stick. And if they are, the black spaghetti skate, if they could just stick with that, it'd be fine. Right. And it's some of it's fun. Like Craig, you deal with it in Buffalo. Like, I mean, the Sabres have had the equal thousands of jerseys. And if they would just stick with that black, silver, and red, or the old school, blue with the buffalo and the swords. But I understand some of it. Some of the marketing's pretty rad on it. But I mean, it is, when it comes to the teams that I like, I try to stay more traditional. Like, I have this one. I have another, on-field Jays one. My kids have a couple of on-field Jays ones. I don't know. Some of it's super fun and some of it just gets a little wonko.
It's awesome that you got there, Leslie. So anyway, Leslie, you were in the middle of getting going on something in the middle of that conversation.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about logos, right? So the one that you're wearing right now, Jason, the one you're wearing, Craig, that's known as the on-field logo. That's literally what they wear on field right now. Surprise! It's one of my favorites, but I'm actually a rarity in that situation because a lot of people, hat collectors don't actually really like this logo.
Why? It's so nice.
Tougher. So I know, I agree. But for hat collectors, for whatever reason, and it might be an oversaturation thing in that, like, it's what's on the field. It's what's in most stores, in the lids, in the J shop. What a lot of like the non-collectors are just grabbing for whatever, just to wear, right? To go to mow the lawn. It doesn't have this sort of like nostalgia. It's not perceived as style. It's perceived as function for the Jays, which is not necessarily what a lot of hat collectors are making their decisions on. So yeah, it's a funny thing. But actually, like when I talk to my hat collector friends, like I tell them this is one of my favorites. Or if I'm trying to find like again a small capsule drop with a unique coloring, it's actually a bit tough to do that. So this one is from spring training. My dear friend Andrew picked this one up for me, Andrew Stokely. But I had to grab this one from Hat Club because it was a unique coloring that's hard to find, right? It's got yellow, right? It's got little baby blue, and then it's got the navy, classic gray UV. And the real kind of neat feature that's not super common, there's no MLB Batterman on the back.
Oh,
that's interesting.
That's interesting.
Very rare to not have the Batterman. Very strange.
Yep.
And then to get the cool Toronto word mark here,
is
quite rare. It's so as a hat, to me, it's a very well designed hat because of its uniqueness that you won't find this often. And also, what's unique? There's no side patch.
I hate side patches. I'm kind of done with side patches.
So hat collectors love side patches. It actually can be hard to sell a hat without a side patch. And when it doesn't have a side patch, it's called a plain Jane.
Yeah, I was working very hard to find my plain Jane, probably 93 dark blue Jays hat out of patch on the side. And the hat that I've been trying to find, which sounds crazy, is the vintage, like first jerseys came out, say 97, white panel, old logo, blue. No side patch.
Yep.
Can't find it. And green visor. Cannot find it.
Denied.
Not,
And then we know this one, right? This one's
Yep.
often referred to as the T-bird or the muscle
T-bird.
T or
muscle
the roid.
bird. Ah,
The roid
Muscle bird.
TJ.
yep.
So personally, this is not my favorite logo. It is rare. This is the only
Oh.
hat I've ever seen that I actually like the way it's presented. Probably because it's doing a bit of a transparent outline thing.
Yeah, I
versus
hate
bright
that.
red
Looks good.
T.
Looks good. He has
Yeah.
a tattoo.
Hey.
Kids love it.
It's got a tattoo.
Like
And then
Jason,
for this,
Jason, kids, do your
this-
kids enjoy this logo? Do they have a preference?
I think if I was to pick one, they probably like this one the most.
Yeah.
I've heard them both say before that they like having the Canadian flag or the maple
Yeah.
leaf on it. I have a tone on tone hat with this logo, and it has no color, and
Yeah.
it's so drab. I was given it, and it does. Leslie, I can see what you're saying though with this logo. If this logo doesn't have these colors in it, it really lacks any kind of pop. It's like the Mets logo. The Mets logo is terrible if it's in any other color. There. See, it just washes.
Yeah, see?
I mean, that one's
Yeah.
not that bad.
you're
That looks
right.
really
I
cool.
bought a hat that looks awful. You're correct.
Well, I mean, that one's not that bad.
That one's not bad. Mine's black and white. It's all silhouetted out. So
I understand your complaints on tone. Now, part of why this is because it's lavender, right? And that's my color, right? And because that look is now more of a fashion look than a sort of functional, look at the Jays logo. This is a Jays hat, right? So actually, and the cool thing is that it was the last year on 5950 Day, they gave out these blips here. And so this is a really cool blip right
That's
here,
cool.
right?
Oh, that is so
Yeah, and it's in my size. So one of my hat
Oh, that's
friends went to Buffalo for that day and picked up a few things for us. One of the things, again, in the hat community is called, an assist. Basically, if you can't pick up something, whether online or in person, someone will give you an assist and grab something for you. I'll show you. I personally, again, I like tone on tone, but again, because it's a fashion thing for me.
I
And
own
again,
that hat. I own that hat.
usually, yeah, I know you own
I'm
that.
pretty sure I've seen that hat.
This is the state fruit
Yeah.
collection from New Era. We are not a state, but we got included. So we are a provincial fruit, and the hat is completely wrong. First of all, so we're not a state, and they're calling our provincial fruit a blueberry, which I don't know. It's not wrong. I mean, we do have wild blueberries, but I don't think if you think of Ontario, the first fruit we would think
No,
is a blueberry.
no.
I mean, I personally think peaches, right? Because of Niagara, but then I get it because Georgia, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, there's a few inaccuracies with that, but it's a cute hat. It's
It's
purple.
cute hat. It's got a pink undervisor. And that's cute, guys. And the
Yes.
bird, it's cute.
Right.
No, that came out good. It's amazing how, the point Jason had that sometimes it completely washes out. I don't see it when it's on just a white hat. It's almost like it blends in completely, but even that lavender one was just enough that you could see it at least. It doesn't matter. There's certain colors that you just don't even see the depth to actually get the pop. And that's what it gets lost in, I think.
Man, is that that's a standard T hat, eh?
So we'll talk about two things first. I'm going to jump to this, but let's talk about pop.
Okay.
There's two different ways of embroidering hats as well. There is raised, and then there is flat. So this is flat, and if you see it, it is literally flat. It doesn't stick up, right? And then this is raised. This may not be the best hat to show.
My Fisher cat
raised.
was like that.
This one here. Yes, you can see raised here. There's a contrast there. So there's a physical pop, and then there's a contrast pop that you're kind of making decisions on when you are talking about hats. But I pulled this guy on because I have an interesting theory on it. So this was released to the shops to be able to sell about a year ago. And it was released for a second, basically. And so a few of them released this logo. They weren't allowed to do, I think there was a couple other color options, but they all the ones who did sell it went with the classic one because they wanted to see how well it sold. It sold okay. And then gone from the catalog, gone.
As if never.
as if never, right? I'm glad I grabbed it when I could. You know, I'd heard that people were thinking about if it sold well to do the other colors, but gone.
It really looks like a Leafs hat.
What does it also look like?
Looks very much like a City Connect going toward that a little bit.
That's it. Now, I never got the City Connect like on-field logo because it looks too much like the Toronto U of T varsity logo, which I'm surrounded by. And I just don't like it. Like it's just not.
It looks like a police hat almost. Like it just looks too.
It's just too much happening.
Especially the exact black, red, and blue, right?
Yeah. But I love this one. I would have gotten a different color if they had it. But when they released the City Connects, I'll tell you, in the hat collecting community, not many people bought the on-field tee with the maple leaf, but a lot of us bought this guy.
And that one is cool.
Right? Because a good word mark is tough to come by. They really did nail this one because it's based on the sign, right? The City of Toronto sign, which my friend Josh was involved with designing, so he's very proud. And he's like, "Hi, Josh, good job." It's got the skyline, and then the side here is, this matches the elements of the sleeve on the City Connect jersey too, and it's nice. It's different. It's nice. Yeah. It's a side patch, but it's not really a side patch. It's a design element. And the cool thing is they're selling these pins to match them. And I had to buy one.
That's sick. Yeah.
But it's got the night mode, as they call it. The irony of night mode is you can't freaking see it at night.
You cannot see it at night. They should have put more purple in it.
In the dark.
Whenever I'm leaving the game at the end of the night and there's people walking around and you'll see them like wearing blue, you see them wearing white, and then you see the person in the City Connect and you can't see them.
That sounds like the old Saturday Night Live. There was this bit that they did where the Dan Aykroyd was selling horrible children's costumes, and one of them was a blind pedestrian.
No, it's not Bag of Glass. Black. Yeah, Bag of Glass is great though.
So I'd be interested to find out all of your guys' thoughts on this. So it was interesting, Leslie, to talk about script or anything that's written full bar across the whole thing. Now, that's not something that I would ever purchase, no matter what the brand, the company, the city, whatever. But I will say this: the classic Eazy-E Raiders script hat. One of the things that I've never ever seen in my days is a Blue Jays one done in the Blue Jays with the writing. But that's always been one of my favorites. I wanted to sort of find out your guys' take on that. It's a very specific script that you can get made, but it's very hard. Like if you go to an embroiderer and say, "I want a hat with that," they're like, "Yeah, I don't have it."
Yeah, no.
It's you can't purchase it. You have to teach your machine to do it. It's like two put together. But interesting thoughts.
I might have seen it. I'd have to sit there and really go. I'd have to ask my friends, the people in my hat collecting group, the ones who own hundreds, if not thousands of hats, have an encyclopedic memory of every company, every drop, every logo, every history of it. I'll ask them on your behalf. I feel like I've seen that, but it's just not common.
Yeah. Jason, as far as I recall, those were like the 90s starter jacket. That was the equivalent of the hat.
Oh, those were awesome.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, ideally,
you have the word script for your football team on, and I remember Bill's ones, and I've been dying to find another one of those since.
If you Google it, I did find one, just Googling it, but it's not the same. Yeah. Like it's not like the all of those ones, like the Kings and the Raiders and all those ones, they were also cool.
I know exactly. Yeah.
But yeah.
My point of view is I will not wear a Jays hat without the bird on it. I like the bird. So for example,
like the word.
I'm sure in a bit, is the bird is the word, and that, but they the T for a while, just a T. I hated it. I hated just the tea.
Toothpaste.
It was super, toothpaste tea. And it was super. It reminds me of Texas, but the one that wasn't. There was one that wasn't the toothpaste Jay. It was. I think for a while it was. I don't know. I can't find this thing, but it was the Angry Bird.
Should I go to the board?
Angry Bird.
But without the bird on it. I've seen it just the tea. But yeah, I don't know. I need a bird on my hat. I even didn't like when they put the Canada logo on the hats for a while there. Yeah. So
here's the
yeah,
list.
I didn't the 2017, 2019 BP practice hats, I think, and the spring training hats, wasn't into it. You got to have the bird on it.
Yeah. It was one of those things that I don't think if you had this built up the right way, you know, we started off with, no offense to anything in other baseball teams, logos and all that stuff, but we started off pretty damn well in Toronto with what we got to inherit for a Blue Jays logo. And then maybe it's the era that I grew up in and really got, you know, obviously I'm old enough to remember and being brought down into the living room and being like, hey, Joe Carter is about to do something special. And he did. Simple as that. But the logo that I grew up with was the 97 to 2002 one there, the one with the giant maple leaf in the background. And I ended up really enjoying that for a long time.
Yeah.
I do
and
too.
Maybe the fact was I grew up being a giant Pat Hankin fan. So I associate Pat Hankin with that era of the Blue Jays, and that's the hat. I wish I had more with that logo on it even.
You don't see it a lot. Yeah, you don't see that one a lot in the wild, I don't think. In the wild, I don't. Leslie, do you see that one a lot?
So I got distracted because I saw the link that Jason provided.
Yeah.
Which one are we talking about? Which era? Is it the
we're
97?
on 97. Yeah, 97.
Yeah. It's not a super popular one. You have to be really like old school. Like you have to so there's a lot of people into hats that are not into baseball, not into their team. It's about design for them. You have to both be into hats and then into the Jays to have that emotional connection to that logo to then want to put that logo out there. It's not a common one. The deep cut.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where I just try gathering all my old jerseys and everything too, because I become that guy that, you know, Liz can actually find me when we're at ball games because it's like, hey, he's the only jackass wearing that logo.
That's the specific logo. Yeah, and then I guess and then we get to the Angry Bird, and this is where the Jays lost me. This is where I checked out of the team for a while, and it started with this tattoo bird. At the time, it reminded me a lot of what was going on in 2001. Sorry, guys, what was going on in wrestling at this time? Or were we in was it the Attitude Era yet?
It's the Attitude Era, basically.
And everything was really all the cartoon characters were really like I don't know if anyone watches Simpsons, but Poochie, it was the Poochification of the Jays logo. Put sunglasses on it or whatever, make it cool. It
always looked like an arena football, the guys that play football inside in a hockey rink and just beat the living shit out of each other.
Yeah, and the T didn't look good. I had problems with this logo. Leslie, what is your thoughts on this logo?
Yeah, I don't like it. I didn't like it when it was released. I still don't like it. I don't think I'll ever buy a hat with that logo. It has no fashion appeal at all. I can't think of cute fits to go with it.
Yeah, it's not cute.
That one and the toothpaste, neither of them do anything for me, really.
No, Jason, any thoughts on that one?
Well, the T one I hate. I absolutely cannot stand. It's possibly the worst I've ever seen. I often thought the Blue Jay, the steroid arm Blue Jay was for one season or for a little while, they were like, okay, hey, who's the drunkest softball guy we know? Oh, it's you. What would you do? I do this. It's a super, it's now actually come to a point with me where I actually like it. I see it and I'm like, I actually kind of like that. It's kind of campy and fun. And it's like the Cincinnati Reds ball head guy.
Yep.
I always thought he was really hokey. And then I was like, it's actually pretty cool. It's actually a pretty cool logo and all the rest of it. But I mean, it's funny when you look at around the league at some of the big swings and misses that have happened. And then other ones where obviously there's the Yankees. I mean, it's never going to change. It's never going to look any different. It's still, and I don't know if it works this way for you guys, but it instantly makes me angry, which is such a weird thing to have happen. And you know what? The worst part of it is when I see, and please don't any ladies who are enjoying the podcast right now, I don't want emails or anything like this, but when I see a woman who clearly doesn't know the difference between Aaron Judge and Judge Judy wearing a Yankees hat, it really irks my eye. It's
boys do it too. Boys do it too.
Boys do it a lot more.
Yeah.
But it's like when you look at like one of the most classic ones, I think that doesn't get enough run is the Mariners yellow trident.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a good
great logo.
Great hat.
Simpler the better. Like, I mean, anything like that where they've been able to keep it really cool, really simple. I love the Rays, Devil Ray throwback.
Oh, it's so
this
good,
year.
They did a side patch with the Ray on the skateboard, and I was like, "This is amazing."
I saw a kid wearing the hat the other day with the actual, and I'm like, "That's actually a pretty cool hat."
Pretty good hat. I know. I won't let my nephew wear it. It's good.
Couldn't wear one, but I mean, it's
My one complaint about the Jays is that there isn't a simple, cute logo, right? A version, again, a really clean, one that you could draw from memory. No. Right? Like I wanted like a little, maybe like lowercase t, or something again, simple, clean. That's kind of why I like this at least, was that it was simple, even though like because of the shape and the geometry is limited. That was been my dream, and I haven't really like ranked on it. So that's, we know we've already got the City Connects. That's done. We're probably won't get any new logoing for 5-10 years. So we just got to run with what we got. I do want to share a couple other interesting things. We're talking about side patches. So one of my favorites here is the back-to-back World Champions.
Classic.
This was a weird one where they released New Era released it / the Jays to be put on hats for 5 months, 6 months, and then they pull it back.
Yeah.
So you can't actually put these on hats anymore, even though it's just such a perfect round symmetrical back-to-back one.
Beautiful.
And another thing I want to mention is texture. I don't know if you can see, but this is corduroy.
Yeah.
I see it now.
Yeah. There's some full corduroy hats, not my jam, a little too bulky, a little too warm. This one I really like from Still, another Still hat, because it is like regular cap, flat logo. And then, the corduroy, it's got a bit of, and then, icy blue, right? And this is a different, textures, textiles. You've probably seen there's some suede, there's some
I've seen
denim,
velvet.
There's velvet, there's satin. The joke for the velvet and satin is the one you wear at your wedding, right? Yeah. They're really trying to push the envelope for different styles, different looks, because I think what baseball fans need to understand is that the hat is a fashion piece. It's not just about baseball anymore. When Spike Lee told New Era, "You're going to make me a red Yankees hat," he broke the mold. No one ever did that. But you don't say no to Spike Lee. No. And once he did that, people start realizing, we could do so much with it. And so really, again, it's a whole fashion piece. Some people will critique a hat and say that's not the Jays colors, or well, those are competitors' colors. That doesn't actually matter. That's your frame of reference. But when it comes to a hat collector, that's not their frame of reference. And they're wearing that in a different way for a different reason.
I do have one more question about the logos. What is everyone's thought on the Sparkle Angry Jay?
Sparkle?
I call them the Sparkle jerseys.
That one right there.
The black. It's the black. When they made the black and silver.
With the Jays across and the sparkly in it?
Yeah. Yeah, I always
called us the not so Blue Jays at that point.
Yeah, they took the blue.
There was no blue in anything.
They just said Jays. You couldn't find the word blue on the stadium anywhere.
Jays.
And then it had just a J, an angry bird with the J on it. I don't wear that logo. It irks me, but man, my 15-year-old nephew loves it. And he loves the black. She's like, "I love that black jersey." I'm like, really? When they got the team in 2009, I guess it marked a turning point in the team when they got rid of the black jerseys back in the blue. It was we're going to make all these cool trades. We're going to be like the Blue Jays again. But I don't know. Kids like black. People like the black. Our City Connects are black. Would you guys wear that logo? Have you worn that logo? Bautista, Doc Holliday wore that logo. Anyway.
My boy, Delgado was.
That's immediately who I think of when I see that logo is Carlos Delgado. Immediately. I mean, Holliday as well, but I mean, it's never one that's really bothered me. I never loved the silver in it. And, spoiler alert, we got an upcoming guest here coming on in the next couple of weeks here, Simon Pond,
played in that jersey.
who's from North Van, a good friend of mine who played in that jersey. It's the only pictures he has as a J, so I can't rip on it too hard because he's going to listen to this. But I mean, I think that the where it lost me was the silver in it. It just didn't wash at all. And it's not a good hat. It's a boring hat, I've seen
some really weird actual colors to the hats in that time too. There was one that the home jersey wasn't really blue with the hat. It wasn't really black. It was like this almost like tainted like slate gray that had a little bit of blue in it. So it was odd. There was just a lot of things that it was like they were just trying to throw it against the wall and hope something was sticking was what I thought. But
here's an interesting one. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but do you guys know traditionally the two colors of what the underbrim is on a hat?
I'm gonna go gray. Let's go gray and green.
It's black and green.
Oh.
So a lot of the hats,
one hat that's got green,
especially the spring training hats, they asked for them to go black because the sun reflecting off the turf or even the grass, hitting eye black or anything else, it was actually making halos off the green. So they asked for black underneath. And it was a lot of pitchers first. Pitchers first asked for black. And then, obviously green was one just back when they didn't realize it's like there's a super interesting story about Marc-Andre Fleury.
Pay that much attention.
So Marc-Andre Fleury, obviously goalie, still in the NHL, plays for the Minnesota Wild, but he played the predominance of his career was in Pittsburgh. And he was having a little trouble not being able to stop the puck, and he was at an optometrist, and the optometrist was going through some colors, and the optometrist showed him a white-on-white picture. And he was like, what's easier to see here, this yellow block or this white block on this white background? And he was like, well, it's actually it's harder to see the white, but it's harder to see around the yellow block. And so he's one of the first goalies to go to a full set of colored pads. And the reason is that your eyes are immediately drawn to the color. So rather than thinking that the white washed it out, and so when a guy was coming down the wing, he'd shoot the puck and it would, he wouldn't be looking somewhere. It was the anti-thought of that, and that's part of the reason why the black was popular too, because the black, when you look up, the reflection is even less. It's the least it can possibly be. And guys weren't wearing flip downs anymore; they were wearing sunglasses, so it was deadening the light in here. The green wasn't working as well as it was, so they went to black for a lot of them. But I've always liked black on the inside. Like when I get hats made for a team, I always ask the team if they want black underneath because, I always liked it in the outfield.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting one.
Some nice.
And I wonder if it has anything to do with Andre picking it back up in Vegas and really running away with it all over again. So he had a hell of a second part of his career there.
Yeah.
So, all right, Leslie, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying my friend Andrew grabbed me this one too. It's always nice that you're like, oh, let's talk about the spring training. I'm like, and I thought about it. I'm like, this is
love that one.
That's a great
one of my favorites.
That's a great hat.
It has that one's got a texture to it. I didn't like the texture. Is that like
yeah.
Okay.
It's a different fabric. I think it's more breathable, I think is the goal.
It's got
is it mesh?
It's like a grid.
It's not mesh.
The front
looks
looks
like the cool base stuff.
It looks like paper towel. Like almost I couldn't do it. I tried.
I have a couple of spring training hats and they're mesh backs.
Yeah,
I really like them.
Oh, those are great. I watched the
So
guys
good.
wear them in spring training who were bald, and they had to wear towels underneath because they were getting.
You saw the actual. It was so funny. So here's the funny little
This one hat for the on the field one this year was the same thing.
Lovely hat.
I ended up loving this hat. I really did, and I didn't notice the texture as much on this color. That was the thing that maybe it was just light enough that it didn't. You get far enough away from it, you don't see it as much. But honestly, in the summer it was awesome.
About meshback is that Clayton Kershaw famously refuses to wear meshback hats. Okay. So I don't think it was this All-Star game. It was the previous one that he was in. All of us hat wearers were watching, and there was a meshback hat that year. he was the only one with a full back hat. Only one. And because he's Clayton Kershaw, right? And so he demanded it. And the fact that he hates it so much, and it's just for the All-Star game. This isn't like playoffs or something, right? It's like really an irrelevant game. He's like, nah, you're making me my hat, and it's going to be for me.
I don't play.
Or, or I'm out.
He traditionally is a guy, and I mean, I think you, as Jays watchers, I think we notice there's a few guys who don't change their hat out very much. Clayton Kershaw, I feel like, is a dude who gets his hat day one, and he sweats his way through the entire. Like, I mean, it looks like it's been worn for 10 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's and that's the other thing is I got to figure out a way to clean some of the. I went with some whites and some lighter ones, and they just get smashed up so quick.
Yeah.
I happen to be wandering around the website that Leslie was talking about here, and I couldn't help but notice this one that just screamed the Always Coca-Cola song from me from the 90s.
It looks like somebody's been captive. A ransom note.
Yeah.
Is it a Big League Chew edition?
It's some of those colors gotten wild on too.
I love those hats.
I like those ones too.
Yeah, I own a few of those hats. But yeah, I'm not brave enough to wear a white hat or own white hat. Just like I can't own a white shirt. And so I see people like who buy the white on like, I don't know, hat club drops, and I'm like, you have a white hat, you just wear that with your white outfit. You stay clean.
Yeah. So the closest
go ahead.
I've gotten to a white hat is this. They did a rose gold release. Cute. So this is a cream, right? And so, no button violation, right? So they called it like rose gold / apricot. So this is a pinkish apricot. It actually came with a really nice. This was the pin it came with was this combo diamonds.
Ooh, I love that. A dazzler. A
right?
Dazzler. Yeah.
Right? And it looked really nice with the 10th anniversary side patch because you get the nice pretty pink ribbon here as well. Like it really worked well with it. They did a good job with the inside, the guts, right? So because you don't want a contrasting darker guts with a lighter cream cap, and then the sweatband, and then of course the matching here. And then my friend again, Liam or Lamb's lids did a really nice matching blip to go with it as well.
Hey, are you guys
familiar?
Winners? Hey,
you got it.
Yeah, that was like Leslie Bingo.
Yeah. Right on.
Bingo. You get a free hat.
And so I will say, because I am uneasy with white hats and cream, is that I use Jason Mark hat cleaning products. They also make shoe cleaning products as well. Comes with a brush, comes with a foaming spray, and it's quite good quality. It's supposed to be environmentally friendly. It's supposed to not have toxic chemicals. Who knows? But I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jason, I did find one here goofing around here that kind of gave me the vibes on that Buffalo or the Raiders hat that you were talking about a little bit.
Oh, I like that hat. That's a good one.
I wish
then
it
you
was
lose me as soon as there's yellow. Like there's yellow in there. I'm lost. I'm out of there. It's not.
But it's just moving really fast.
It's so fast. It's so fast.
It looks like a beer. It looks like a beer ad to me, which to me, I enjoy it because it makes me think of the 80s. And remember when they were first talking about like they might have actually called it like Labatt's Blue, like blue specifically because they wanted to link with Labatt's. I think about that, and I feel like it kind of matches like, the history of the Jays.
And when they won a whole bunch more.
Yeah, and that one actually had the 91 All-Star Game patch on the side of it. So
I love it. All-Star Game logo is awesome.
I'm kind of upset that one's out of stock.
Okay, so here we go. Around the horn. Favorite hat of all time, doesn't matter what team.
Doesn't matter what team.
I got mine right away.
Go for it.
Go.
Mine is the Originals Expo 3-panel.
Oh,
it is.
Yes, it is.
My favorite. When I see a dude, my son had one forever. He wore the thing until the white was some sort of weird color of brown, and the rest of it was like frayed. But if you see someone in an Expos hat, it doesn't matter how far off in the distance, you're like, I can recognize that from here, and it makes my heart warm. So that's my pick is Expos 3-panel.
Mine's the OG
Yeah.
Blues hat, the white panel with the white panel on it. OJ Blue Jays hat. I love that hat. It looks good. It makes me feel warm inside. I don't own one because I can't find the specific one that I want, but when I do, I will wear it all the time.
So
But-
my favorite hat will be this one because it was the first fitted hat I'd ever bought.
Yes.
I actually, before this, so this was 2015, I believed because of my large square head that I didn't look good in hats, right? I just thought that was the fact. It was just a fact. My head's too big. I look bad in hats. I actually had a Olympics Ross Rebliati gray poor boy hat, and that was the only
like
hat I would ever
98?
wear.
Yeah.
But this, I went to Jason with my friend Neil, who wore fitted hats, who has a large head as well. We went to the shop, and then he's like, you should get a Jays hat. I'm like, nah, they all look terrible on me. And I try on the women's hats, and they'd all be too small. And he's like, look at those. I'm like, oh yeah, the pixel is really cool.
Yeah.
He's like, I said, but they won't look good on me. He's like, trust me, they'll look good on you. It's fine. He's like, let's find your size. And I found 7.5. And I had the option between this color work and then the traditional, royal blue jade color work. And I said, which one? He's just like, if you're gonna go all out, go for the color work.
Yep.
Right. And this was my very first. So it'll always have a space in my heart, which is why I've been very obsessed with getting more pixel logos. And so to keep it under my hat, I can share there will be some more pixelated logo hats coming out at some point in the upcoming year.
Wink, wink.
Beauty. Okay,
Nudge, nudge.
before we get to you, I will say this. Hold on. Before we get to Craig, I will say this. So I have this conversation once a game when I go buy hats. People or women will be like, well, I don't wear the flat brim. I don't wear flat brim. And I always say, like, that's what they wear on field. You just curve them. People are so used to seeing like the sticker flat brim, like I don't know, worn flat, that they forget that it's just the same hat.
100%.
Sorry, Craig, go hard.
You're good. So mine is a version of this logo, right?
Yeah.
But it is this logo with the original look to it. So it was the blue top, red button, red brim.
Cute, super cute.
That was the one. That was I had about 3 of that same hat, and I beat the living piss out of all of them. And it was well after they stopped wearing that logo. I finally went through the third one. It's like I stockpiled them. I'm boom, 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 and I'm like I said, I wore them all the way through college, and they stopped using that logo well before I graduated from college in 2007. Good deal. So one last one. I'm going to build off of that because we're almost at our hour here, and I'll give Leslie another moment to shine, obviously, for her shameless self-promoting bit like we do for every guest on this show. If you're going to pick a logo that you are truly in love with that is not a Blue Jays hat, so Major League Baseball, Minor League Baseball, something you would go out and buy outside of that, I'll be nice and I'll start this one off. I have an infatuation with my National League team, which is the Milwaukee Brewers. And there was something to me about just that glove with the ball in it, perfectly dead center blue on a hat. It screams class to me. Unlike the weird little M that they made out of wheat a few years there.
The Wheatley.
The Wheatley. So anybody that would want to run with that one next.
Jason, take it.
I can go. I would say based on, my National League favorite team, I would say that the Philadelphia Phillies, plain maroon with the P on it, which I have 2 of, actually. I love that hat. It is clean. It looks so good with the baby blue jerseys with the maroon. And then a very close second, doesn't exist anymore, but is the old Cleveland Indians Chief Wahoo hat. It just screams baseball and everything there is to do with it. I just love it so much.
Yeah, you must have been a Ricky Vaughn fan. It's not like you have a jersey or anything, right?
I do have a Rick Vaughn jersey. I have a Wild Thing hat, and I have a Jobu hat. So I am a bit of a major league nut.
I'm going to say that mine is I will never wear it, and my favorite hat logo is the Devil Ray, the like flappy Devil Ray on that hat. Looks amazing. Can't wear it. Fucking hate that team.
This year it might be a support year.
No,
Not doing it. I was giving you a small out.
No.
I wasn't saying a big one.
No.
So I want to give a shout out to smaller teams, independent league teams. And so I'm a big fan of the London majors because Leslie, I'm an egotist myself. So walking around with a beautiful script L on my forehead, a giant loser.
Yep.
But yes, I love this hat very much. And then the other one I will sell is the Saskatoon Berries. They just
cool.
like the team just had their first season, but they put all their money into the marketing, graphic design, merchandise. They've been flying off the shelves. They cannot keep this stuff on. Like, it sells out so fast. My friend Jackie and I went out to meet up with Jay's Twitter in Saskatchewan. We did a trip there. We stayed in Saskatoon with Eric, and we visited Nicole, and we went to a Berries home game, and then we went out to Regina to visit Pelsi and to visit Chris Henderson, which many of you will know because he's done a lot of writing. And except we were going to watch a game in Regina, but we couldn't. Oh, okay. But yeah, we couldn't watch a game because it was rained out, but they're a fun team. Like, I go to Saskatchewan, go watch them play at a home game. They're really fun. The food is mind-blowingly good. Like, so good. And all of their merchandise, the logoing, everything is just so well designed.
There you go. Before Mr. Lyons has to run off here at 5 Western time, Pacific Coast time, I want to get one minor league logo that you all love. So, Jason, I'm going to let you tee this one off because, like I said, I know you got it here in a minute.
I can narrow it down to a few, but my God, there are so many. That is one of my favorite things. I can go down a rabbit hole all night of looking at MIILB
They're
logo.
so good.
I'll have to stay traditional with my first overall pick, which is the old, and I have one, the old Vancouver Canadians Mountie logo with the dude running, the Mountie running across it. I think it's clean, tight, good colors. Has Canadians across the back. It's a great logo. But, I mean, there's too many. The Chihuahuas, the lug nuts, there's just so many of them that are so rad. All the Mexican masks.
So good.
The dairy creamers, right?
Yep.
The dairy daddies or whatever. Dairy daddies.
And my favorite random one is the Macon Bacon for Macon, Georgia.
Savannah.
It looks like Ken Griffey Jr. swinging, but it's a bacon with a frying pan hat.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I don't know. I will also just say that, like, there's a team I love called they were the Vermont Expos. Now they're the Vermont Lake Monsters. They had an alternate hot dog night hat. It had a hot dog like whistling, holding like a nickel. It was beautiful. It was like tricolor, I think. So I don't know. Everybody forgets if you go on Lids, you can go into the minor league section of the website. You will see the most beautiful hats you've ever seen.
Hours.
Yeah.
One of my more recent favorite ones is also the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Trash Pandas.
Hey, look, there's somebody else that knows the hat I'm wearing out there. Go Rochester Plates. Thanks, Seth.
Hey, Seth.
Rochester Plates.
You guys should hang out.
That's so good.
Yeah, I know he's around here, so that would be fun. So on that note, but yeah, Mish was also calling out the Trash Pandas, so we had to make sure we got that one in there. So there are just so many of them, and I love the culture around baseball. Hats are obviously a giant, enormous part of all things, like we were talking about baseball culture and fashion. It is a chance for you to wear the pride, or at least something you love, in whatever fashion you end up wanting to wear it in. And Leslie, I think you did an amazing job tonight of showing all the Blue Jays fans and everybody out and listening tonight of why this is such a cool thing just outside of the baseball stuff that you see on field. So thank you very much. And this is obviously your shameless self-promoting bit.
I would say, I like to promote hats. I like to promote local sellers as well as regional sellers of designs that are just a little more interesting than what you'll see in the big shops. And whenever I promote a hat, it'll be sold out really fast. So you got to keep an eye out, and then you got to buy it.
Yeah. And you always have our platform to come over and get us on team with you on that whole thing and get it go even that much quicker, maybe a little bit. So you're always welcome to come and show and chit chat with us, obviously. And If you haven't known, you can also find her at the Catch during baseball season.
Catch
At least that's
bar.
where I found you most recently.
Yeah.
It's good to see you in person again. It was been a while since we went to a Bison's game, and I think I picked up a similar hat that day.
Beauty.
So good stuff. But
Awesome.
anyways,
I have one thing that before we say goodbye, that I just want to plug, and that is, I know we're all pumped about Soto, but let's not forget, extend Vladdy. So that was
Extend Vladdy.
Extend Vladdy.
Extend Vladdy. V for Vladdy.
yes. You would think that would be the first thing he would at least. You sign Vladdy full time, or guess what? No, so.
Yeah.
You would think that he'd be thinking that because he wants to win. That's going to be a big piece of it. Jason, are there any parting words in your last minute?
I don't know if you guys saw it come down. Breaking news. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. Aaron Judge is the AL MVP, and against my better. I'm sticking with it here. DH shouldn't win the MVP, but Ohtani, I guess, has won the MVP in the National League.
Say that.
I think there was guys that played a whole season at a position that were equally as good. 50 and 50 is pretty amazing. But just give him an award for that. Give him an award for the 50 and 50, some sort of baseball icon award or something like that. But
I believe that's called the Henry Aaron Award.
Yeah, sure. Do that.
Offensive
Do that.
Player of the Year Award.
I had that point of view, and everyone trashed me, and I just kept getting in trouble for saying that. Like,
other than that, don't sell short on Santander. I think Santander is equally as good as Juan Soto in a million different ways. I actually think he might be a tick better, but so that's my hope for the week is that
I have a joke for you, Jason, before you leave. I have a joke, and I heard this perfectly from one of my friends as a giant Baltimore Orioles fan who also hates the Yankees just as much as everybody collectively in this group, being Blue Jays fans. They heard that his joke was that he heard that Aaron Judge was going to be at the New Year's Bash this year in New York City. He's going to be downtown. He's actually going to help them drop the ball.
It's a good one. I like it.
I'm not a horrible dad joke. Get it? Totally got it. Thank you again, everybody. It's been a great night on Jaybird Watching. Thank you for the current 69, 70 people that have been in and out of the chat. We greatly appreciate you all for chiming in and with your logos and everything. Make sure you're listening live every week here on Thursday evenings. I think I'm going to have to figure out something for next week, or you guys are going to have to do something, as I will be.
I got some ideas.
American Thanksgiving.
I got some ideas.
So, to that point, we will always we're here to hang out. We're here to goof around. Find us on all social media at Birdwatching GC. Find us wherever you get your podcasting pleasures from. And Fansided.com, Jay's Journal official podcast. You all have a great evening and good night.
Thank you for listening to the Jaybird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC, and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!